It's the start of the fiscal year for Japan. Now we are in the release of new issues in Jump, new series. Unfortunately, some series got axed, but new series are now coming out to hopefully get that lineup and fulfill the dreams of the authors to get a successful series. But now we've got Zipman, and it's actually a lot different than the one shot. From what I saw, the one shot, it was like kind of like police work, but with mechs, and I assumed the criminals would have mechs. I couldn't find the one shot online, but from the premise that I understood, I liked it. And from the early pictures I saw from the official serialized version, it was a lot different, and I was a little bit unsure whether or not I'd still like it, given it was shifted over from what drew my interest in the first place. But I did like it. I thought it was really nice. One, just getting some basics out of the way. I thought the art was really nice. I think the main character is pretty neat, and I like the premise. Pretty easy start for a chapter 1. Now, what is the series about? Essentially, the main character, Kaname, was it Tatara, I think his last name is pronounced, and he's just a normal guy. He's training, trying to become like the guy who plays a superhero in a TV show in the world is called Jackman. And, his dream is to get the part to be that character on the TV show. And it's shown like one of the reasons is like his younger brother. He's got like a twin younger brother, and his younger brother is like the really smart one. He's like, he graduated like college at like 12, and at like 15, he had his own like research company, and he invented all this tech, and all this different like exosuits and drones and just, lots of important science stuff, lots of advancements in robotics. While the main character, he worked at essentially trying to get like his skills up to play this character on a TV show. Like, he works out a lot physically. He's gained the ability to pretty much like short time run on walls. He can break cinder blocks with his bare hands. He focused on one thing that he thought he would be better at, because his brother's focusing more on the advancement of his inventions. And that was nice in its own like layout, because it was a really legitimate way to establish the characters without it really peering away too much of like, well, this guy's he's not good at anything, whatnot. He's like, oh no, his brother just excels, and he found something that he thought that he would be able to excel at in his own. The only issue that like is seemingly what messes with that hope for him is that he comes off a little bit villain-like. He just has like this like sharp tooth like look to him. He's got some scars. Like the way that he's set out here actually reminds me a lot of like Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen and Shinra from Fire Force. Those two tied together. You had the ties to the younger brother and whatnot, and them thinking they're dead. He's this guy who is very physically strong. He's got all these weird quirks that seemingly make him awkward in being like what he wants to be, seemingly come off as a bad guy. What I really liked about it is like, you look at something like Fire Force, Jujutsu Kaisen, or even though it kind of feels like a bit of a superhero series, look at My Hero Academia, is that in those worlds, in Jujutsu Kaisen, you had, the shamans. They're pretty much their own profession. You have My Hero Academia, the superheroes, they're their own profession. They're all over the place. And then Fire Force, you have the fire brigades, who, again, are a profession, and, you can join in with... sorry, it stuttered a little there. You can join in with them. But in Zipman, the main character wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to go for this spot of superhero. He wanted to be superhero, but it was on a TV show. So, seemingly in this world, this is where all the chaos starts out. Like, when you look at all these other ones, it's like you have villains and bad guys running all over the place for years and doing all sorts of stuff. But seemingly, like, this is where everything really kind of begins. But the story starts out, the main character, he's at his brother's funeral. His brother died in some form of accident. And he now is just trying to live his life. He's trying to pretty much just keep pushing onward. And he wants to prove himself. They even said, like, when his brother died, it was pretty much what their views on the advancements of science and just progress was pretty much set back 50 years. It was that much that he was presenting they're able to get that far ahead in just speculation with him gone. Obviously, that pulled away from everything, and his company Steel X. And you see like a flashback of his brother and him, and they're pretty much just hanging out, having fun, watching cartoons and superhero stuff, and they get bullied on the playground. That little kid that they run into on the playground, he's like a jacked child. Like, I know there's like a thing where a lot of mangaka aren't the best at drawing kids, probably just because weird proportions, especially when you have like anime stuff, gonna look a lot weirder on little kids. But this kid, he's huge. His torso is like bigger than all these other children. And what's he, like 5 or 6? It's a big ass kid. But they're like trying to fight back against this bully, and this girl shows up and beats him, and they both fall for this girl at the same time, and then becomes a competition of who they can who's going to be able to win her over, because main character, he talks about he wants to help make people smile, like like the superhero Jackman on their TV shows, and he just wants to do good things, but he also wants to win this girl over. And his brother, who is the intelligent one, always being able to do like stuff with technology, invent things, and he was like good at like cooking and whatnot, pretty much everything that he really set out to do he'd be able to accomplish, while the main character Kaname, he was just always trying to keep up. And I like that aspect, that it's not like, oh, he's just bad at everything. It's no, he's just trying really hard to try and keep pace, and because of that he just fumbles a lot because of it, just because the bar is set so high for him. But when he's hanging out with this girl, and China, as her name is, a very strange name to go with, but I like that it's very easy to remember. It's very standout. But he ends up getting a message, Kaname, while talking to China about his brother, and it's actually a text from his brother Koshiro, and he's like talking about he's not really sure what to make of this, because his brother's supposed to be dead, so he's a little bit astonished, and his brother's telling him pretty much, go to this location, you need to do it, there's no time to explain. When they see on the news, there's just big robot just wreaking havoc, and I think I can make an estimation on the plot from the layout of what we got in the series, but I'll get to that in a moment. Now, the main character's, going to rush over to try and get to where his brother's saying, the girl's in danger, like cars are just being thrown around, like explosions are just wrecking out all of these buildings, and, obviously things are getting a little bit dangerous. But when he wants to go try and fight this robot, he was gonna, like, for a moment try and, like, go at it barehanded, just not wanting to back down, not wanting to, give up that kind of, like, ideal that he had. And all this hard work he's been going through, he just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to fall down. And here, like, this truck shows up, and inside is like this suit where it's his brother like talking through it, and he tells them to unzip it and pretty much get inside. Actually, that aspect reminds me a bit of manga Gleipnir. It's really hard to pronounce, but like the main character, he can turn into like this weird mascot suit, and people can get inside it and control him and pretty much get like buffs through so it's like he's the main character. Essentially his power is to turn into the Venom symbiote from Marvel, but I mean that concept sort of comes over to here. But when the main character gets in it, he's able to knock around this robot, able to throw punches at him and actually take him down and save the day, which is really neat, because he is seemingly, like I said, the first hero in his world. And he calls himself Jackman when he's doing it, but I'm guessing the name of the series and the fact that it's a zipper on his outfit is going to be, Zipman. Like, that'll either be his name, or I think it'll have to do with the plot. So, the whole premise, the whole layout of the chapter, I think is cool. I like the main character, like I said, I like the art style, I like the way that it's all set up with, like, cool, like, physically enhancing, like, exoskeleton mech suits, I think is neat. The thing that I really like about it, that I think the title will fit maybe more for, instead of it just being the main character superhero title, is the premise. Because, like, you see all the stuff about, like, his brother inventing, like, exoskeleton suits, his brother mysteriously died, you don't really know, and I'm wondering if it's going to be more like, he had all these inventions, and now they're getting, used for, for bad guys. You have all these people, when you see, like, super progressive technology that want to weaponize things, and you even see, like, in his chest, the number on the Jackman suit, it says 001, So I'm guessing that, suit number 001, there's probably a bunch more robots. Maybe if you've been like, we want to storm the facility and try and get all of Koshiro's secrets in order to progress our own technology and whatnot. And I like that aspect. And I'm wondering that maybe Zipman won't be his superhero name, but it will just be what people who have these like zipper suits that they can pretty much put on and buff themselves with will be called. So I like that aspect. I think it's neat. There's a premise to kind of speculate, or I'm sure we'll find out in the next couple chapters. I'm very interested to see where this goes. And I know that the author, he's got some backing to him. Like he definitely knows what he's doing. He had a pretty likable main character in the first chapter. He's got a pretty cool setup with just the main character suit for one. And the only thing that I would say that I'm not a fan of, which is not important, is just like like his suit, when he has it on, it has like eyes into it. It looks a little bit weird. I like it better when it's kind of like whited out and it looks more like a glass panel over it, kind of, more like a robot suit rather than like a living suit. But it seems like his brother, like I'm guessing before he died, uploaded his his entire conscience into this suit and the machine, and so he's got essentially the entirety of his mental state all downloaded into the pretty much just the whole like memory board of this thing. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head just what the exact computer term for that is for it's the storage show, the computer storage system, whatever. Not important. But I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than a lot of other not one shot, start of serializations as of recent. I'm hoping it does good. The author seems to know, he's got a good layout. I know he at one point was assistant to both Oda and Horikoshi, which that's very good marks on him. So we'll see how the story progresses. We'll see how it goes. I would like to see, for one, okay, what are we going to get on things like, okay, first bad guys? What's the first arc going to be? What is the main character going to do now that, he's pretty much, gotten the ability to be a hero? And it's different than, like I said, My Hero Academia, where it was like, oh, you got superpowers and you can train to be a hero now. It's different in this situation because the main character seems to be the first hero. So he's going to set the standard for everything. He's going to be the one setting the precedence, which could do a lot of really interesting ways for his character if you maybe can twist it into maybe some more moral decisions that could affect him. He doesn't have someone to really look up to unless he reflects off of the TV show specifically. Other than that, comment below, tell me what your thoughts are about this series and about this chapter. Again, I'm looking forward to the next one. I know there's going to be a couple more new series in Jump over the next couple weeks. That's usually how it is whenever the start of the year happens. Usually through January and February, we're going to get a bunch of new stuff. But we'll see. I mean, we had a bunch of new stuff last year, and really the only things that stuck were Chainsaw Man and Samurai 8. So hopefully Zipman is going to be one of those ones that sticks around. Other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, for the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate everyone's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.